Imagine holding a coin that carries the echo of a nation celebrating itself. Metal struck not just for commerce, but for memory, ambition, and pride. Imagine the weight of American history resting in your palm. A single dollar that tells stories of the moon landing, the bicentennial, and a time when the United States deliberately chose to make its money feel powerful again. This is not just about face value. This is about why certain Eisenhower dollars ignite collector passion, why prices can leap from pocket change to 4 and even 5 figures, and why small details in silver, gray, copper, nickel can change everything. Stay with this journey, because these Eisenhower dollars are far more than large coins. They are monuments. 1776-1976, D. Eisenhower $1. The 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower $1 coin was born during a moment unlike any other in American numismatic history. In the mid-1970s, the United States prepared to celebrate 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The country was still processing the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, economic inflation, and cultural change. Against that backdrop, Congress authorized a complete redesign of the reverses of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar to commemorate the bicentennial. The Eisenhower dollar, already the largest circulating coin of its time, became a symbolic canvas for national reflection. Instead of the familiar Apollo 11 eagle landing on the moon, the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar introduced a bold new reverse. Designed by Dennis R. Williams, the image showed the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon. This was not accidental symbolism. The Liberty Bell represented the birth of American independence, while the moon recalled modern American achievement in space. Together, they visually connected 18th century ideals with 20th century technological power. The dual date 1776 to 1976 replaced the traditional single year, instantly distinguishing this coin from all others in circulation. The Denver Mint struck the 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower dollar for general circulation. Unlike the 40% silver versions produced at San Francisco for collectors, the Denver issues were clad copper nickel. Even so, the bicentennial dollar was never heavily used in everyday transactions. By the 1970s, paper dollars dominated commerce, and the Eisenhower dollar was often considered too large and inconvenient for daily use. As a result, many examples were saved almost immediately, either as souvenirs or as perceived future collectibles. Mintage figures for the 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower dollar are substantial but not overwhelming. Approximately 21 million pieces were struck across both reverse hub types, known today as Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 coins feature bold, blocky lettering on the reverse, especially noticeable in the word States and the lettering around the rim. Type 2 coins show thinner, sharper lettering, the result of a modified hub introduced in 1976 to improve strike quality. Both types were released into circulation, and both are collected today, though Type 1 coins are slightly scarcer and more frequently associated with weak strikes. The obverse of the coin retained Frank Gasparo's portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, facing left, with liberty above and I in God we trust to the left of the neck. The dual date sits below the portrait, balanced and prominent. While the design remained unchanged from the standard Eisenhower dollar, collectors often note subtle differences in strike quality between bicentennial issues and earlier years. Denver Mint bicentennial dollars frequently show softness in Eisenhower's hair details and in the eagle feathers on the reverse, especially on Type 1 coins. Errors and varieties play a major role in the collector demand for the 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower dollar. Double die varieties exist on both obverse and reverse, with the most dramatic examples showing clear doubling in the lettering of Liberty or in the reverse inscriptions. These are scarce and can command significant premiums when properly authenticated. Off-center strikes are also known, and because of the coin's large size, dramatic off-center examples are visually striking and highly collectible. Clipped planchets, broad strikes, and coins struck on defective planchets further expand the error collecting field. One of the most intriguing aspects of the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar is the persistent myth surrounding silver content. Many people believe all bicentennial dollars are silver. In reality, Only the San Francisco Mint collector versions were struck in 40% silver. The Denver Mint coins are standard clad. This misunderstanding occasionally leads to undervalued pieces being sold cheaply or overvalued pieces being overpriced by uninformed sellers. Knowledge remains the most powerful tool for collectors in this market. In terms of market value, the 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower dollar in circulated condition generally trades close to face value, sometimes slightly above depending on demand. However, uncirculated examples show a wide range of prices based on grade. Coins grading MS-63 or MS-64 are relatively affordable, often selling for a modest premium. Once grades reach MS-65 and above, prices rise sharply. High-grade examples with strong luster and minimal contact marks can sell for several $100s. At the top of the grading scale, MS-67 coins are exceptionally rare and can bring thousands of dollars at auction. Collector demand for the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar remains strong for several reasons. First, the dual date makes it instantly recognizable and historically resonant. Second, it represents the only circulating United States dollar coin with a commemorative reverse design. Third, it appeals to multiple collecting communities, including type collectors, Eisenhower specialists, bicentennial memorabilia collectors, and error coin enthusiasts. This cross-category appeal helps stabilize demand and supports long-term value growth, especially for high-grade and variety examples. The emotional pull of this coin should not be underestimated. For many Americans, the bicentennial was a moment of unity and celebration. Coins saved by parents and grandparents are now being rediscovered by new generations. That personal connection adds a layer of desirability that pure mintage numbers cannot fully explain. The 1776-1976 D. Eisenhower dollar is not rare in the absolute sense, but the finest examples and the most dramatic errors are unquestionably scarce, and that scarcity continues to drive competition among serious collectors. 1971 D. Eisenhower $1. The 1971 D. Eisenhower $1 marks the true beginning of the Eisenhower dollar series and the return of the large dollar coin to American circulation after a 36-year absence. Following the end of the Peace Dollar series in 1935, the United States had not produced a standard circulating dollar coin. The death of President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1969 and the successful Apollo 11 moon landing created the political and cultural momentum needed to bring the dollar coin back. Authorized by Congress and signed into law in 1970, the Eisenhower dollar was designed by Chief Engraver Frank Gasparo. The obverse portrait of Eisenhower was intended to convey strength, dignity, and modern leadership. The reverse, based on the Apollo 11 mission insignia, depicted an eagle descending onto the lunar surface with an olive branch, Earth visible above. This design symbolized peace through strength and technological achievement during the height of the Cold War. The Denver Mint struck the 1971 D. Eisenhower dollar exclusively in copper-nickel-clad composition for circulation. Approximately 68 million coins were produced, making it the second highest mintage of the entire Eisenhower dollar series. Despite this large number, relatively few examples survive today in truly pristine condition. The size of the coin, combined with bag storage and transportation, resulted in heavy contact marks and abrasions on many uncirculated pieces. The obverse of the 1971 D. Ike features liberty across the top, "In God We Trust" to the left of Eisenhower's neck, and the date at the bottom. The Denver Mint mark appears below the neck truncation. Collectors often scrutinize the hair detail above the ear and the cheek area, as these are common weak points for strikes and contact marks. On the reverse, the eagle's breast feathers and the Earth's surface details are key indicators of strike quality. One of the most important historical aspects of the 1971 D. Eisenhower dollar is that it represents the first-year issue. First-year coins carry a special status among collectors across nearly all series. They mark the introduction of a design, the learning curve of the mint, and the initial public reception. As a result, the 1971 D. Ike enjoys consistent demand, even though its raw mintage numbers are high. Varieties and errors significantly enhance the appeal of the 1971 D. Eisenhower dollar. While the most famous Eisenhower variety, the friendly eagle, is associated with the 1971 silver dollar from San Francisco, dimmer coins are not without their own noteworthy varieties. Doubled dies exist, particularly affecting the lettering on the obverse and the details of the eagle on the reverse. These varieties are scarce and often overlooked in raw collections, creating opportunities for sharp-eyed collectors. Major mint errors are where the 1971 Ike truly shines. Off-metal strikes, including examples struck on silver planchets intended for San Francisco issues, are among the most valuable and dramatic errors known. These coins can weigh differently, appear brighter, and are extremely rare. Broad strikes, off-center strikes, and struck through grease errors are also documented and highly sought after due to the coin's large canvas, which makes such errors visually impressive. Market value for the 1971 Eisenhower dollar varies widely by condition. Circulated examples typically trade at or near face value, reflecting the coin's availability and lack of precious metal content. Uncirculated coins in lower mint state grades are affordable, often selling for modest premiums. However, as with the bicentennial issue, values increase rapidly at higher grades. MS-65 coins are desirable and command noticeably higher prices. MS-66 examples are scarce, and MS-67 coins are genuinely rare, often selling for several $1,000s when they appear at auction. Collector demand for the 1971 Eisenhower dollar is driven by several overlapping factors. Series completion is a major one. Anyone assembling a complete Eisenhower dollar set needs this coin. Type collectors seek it as the first large dollar of the modern era. Error collectors are drawn to its dramatic mistakes. Additionally, nostalgia plays a role. The early 1970s represent a transitional period in American coinage, just after the removal of silver from circulating coins and before the introduction of smaller dollar designs. Another important factor is grading awareness. As grading standards have tightened over time, truly high-grade examples have become more difficult to find. Coins once considered gem are now recognized as average. This shift has increased the scarcity of top-tier pieces and supported long-term price appreciation. Collectors who understand strike quality, luster, and surface preservation are best positioned to identify undervalued examples. The 1971 Eisenhower dollar may appear common at first glance, but its true character reveals itself through careful study. It is a coin that rewards patience, knowledge, and attention to detail. From its historical role as the rebirth of the dollar coin to its complex market dynamics and error potential, it stands as a cornerstone of modern United States numismatics. Together, the 1776-1976 and 1971 Eisenhower dollars tell a powerful story. One marks a national celebration 2 centuries in the making, while the other signals a bold return to tradition and strength. For collectors, these coins offer history you can hold, challenges you can pursue, and value that extends far beyond $1.